Will Cayeton from the Kentucky Valley Educational Cooperative, and we are live here in Jackson, Kentucky, Breathitt County, and I am joined by my good friend
Scott Napier.
Scott Napier, good fella. So we're going to talk a little bit about this locally owned and operated place of business. It is called Tireworks. And Scott, please share with our audience, students out in our service region, what this place of business is all about, when it was established. Let's start there.
We do automotive repair. We've been here since 2009. That's when we moved into this building. We've actually been doing this about 13 years. We had a different location for a little while, but we've been here about 12 years.
About 12 years. That's a long time. And you are generally always covered up, and that certainly speaks to the good work that you do here for local folks. As we look around the shop, it is already full, and here we are early in the morning. Take a moment and talk about the different workstations that you have here and the different kinds of work that is being done at the different workstations, because you have mechanics here who have areas of expertise.
Yes, in the automotive industry, people usually have their own little niche, and we have guys that do anything from electrical to diagnosis of different engine problems, transmission issues, brake issues. Obviously we do tires, oil changes, just about anything other than transmission swaps and engine swaps.
Okay, the two big pieces,
right.
Transmissions
We try to
and
keep
engines.
everything at a fast pace.
Okay, and that volume makes sense.
Absolutely.
You even have a mechanic here who can work on boats, because we've had that conversation.
Yes,
and that's,
we
that's not common.
On occasion we do have a few boats that come through, and we do a little work on those too.
And I need to bring mine in at some point later this summer. I just talked moments ago with Flip to make sure he's still good to go. So that's wonderful. Okay, so we talked about years of operation, about 11 years, but you have another shop in Hazard, Kentucky.
Yes,
Talk a little bit about that
we
shop.
have
We're
another,
not there.
We have another parts store in Hazard, Kentucky, CarQuest of Hazard. We have the parts store that we're connected here, Hutch Automotive.
Hutch Automotive.
So it's quite an asset to have both of those parts stores, at our disposal.
Absolutely. So you don't have to wait on parts typically, and even if you don't have in stock in your inventory the parts that are needed for the repairs that are being done, you can usually turn that around in about 24 hours.
Well, actually now we have, with the parts store up front, we have a shuttle that runs at 1 o'clock every day.
Okay.
So we get parts delivered first thing in the morning, and then if there's something that we need throughout the day, as long as we get it in by around 10:30 that morning, we can have it at 1 o'clock that day.
Very, very cool. That is neat. There was something else that came to my mind about this shop. Aside from the number of employees, and we'll get there in just a moment, what would you say is the piece of work that you experience the most here? What do you do the most of in this particular shop? I know it's called Tireworks.
We do a significant amount of tires, a lot of brake work, a lot of oil changes, a lot of problem vehicles.
When you say problem vehicles,
electrical issues that are not, it's going to take a little time to figure it out. Like I said, we do just about everything.
Yeah, and that's wonderful. That's a real treasure to have here in the mountains of eastern Kentucky, because the dealerships, nothing wrong with the dealerships, but their prices are a little bit higher, and that's part of the attraction here, is your price points are a little bit lower.
Yes, sir.
And more affordable.
Our labor rate is a lot less than the dealership.
And that's a big deal.
Yes, it is.
Because it can get expensive in a hurry. All right, let's talk about the number of employees that you have here in this shop.
We have 9 employees here.
Okay, 9 employees. That's a pretty big operation.
And they range in experience from 40 years down to less than a year.
Yeah, and we're going to get some sound bites from the 3 different age groups of employees, auto mechanics that are here, and that's kind of cool. Also, it's important to note that you have a relationship with the Breathitt County Area Technology Center.
Yes, sir.
It's not uncommon for you to have young people interning up here.
Actually, Mr. Burley Adams is the instructor over there, and he does an excellent job. He keeps us well supplied with co-op students. Generally, they come over for roughly a couple hours a day, and we have them work with one of the guys, and they get to, you know, a little hands-on experience.
I think when I had my wife's truck tires changed out, it was an intern who actually helped do that. So that's really neat, and we appreciate that very much, Scott. Okay, let's take a couple minutes and talk about the skill sets, levels of experience, education, technical education that's required. You probably run the gamut when it comes to experience, training, formal, informal. Talk a little bit about what you typically will find in an employee here as far as their auto mechanic skill sets.
Like I said before, each mechanic usually has their own little niche to where they get into it. That also comes with, you know, time, years served, and all that good stuff. But each one of them has their own particular thing that just excites them, and they get into it. So each employee that we have has their own little thing that when I bring a car in, I know Rusty's going to work on it, or James is going to work on it, or by their skill sets.
Do you require them to possess a technical degree or certification in auto mechanics?
The biggest thing is all the vocational school is the first, you know, first step. That's great.
Training from the area technology center from the local high schools.
I think hands-on is the best training. Obviously the schools, you know, get you the knowledge to begin with, but there's so many things and so many different aspects of the automotive industry that it's hard to get all that without actually being on-the-job trained. And I think, you know, trainability and work ethic are the two biggest things, you know.
Yeah, and we want to talk a little bit about work ethic in a moment, but before we get there, I'm curious, when you have someone who applies for a mechanic's position here and they share their resume and have a conversation with you through the interview about their experience, how do you go through the process of determining whether or not they have enough experience to work here and contribute?
What we usually do is do a 14-day period. Where, you know, to see if they fit us, if we fit them, what they know, what we know, and just see how we match, basically.
That's great. Perfect. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Share with our audience a little bit about the salary range that they can expect in a place of business like this. There is a range based on experience, obviously.
Obviously, with small shops like this, experience is the biggest thing. Ranges from anywhere from minimum wage to $10, $15 an hour. It just, like I said, it's basically on knowledge.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you, Scott. Okay, benefits. What kinds of?
They do get vacation, sick time, things like that.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pause our formal visit about this place of business here at Tireworks, Jackson, Kentucky, and we're going to do a tour of the shop and visit with several employees and get a good soundbite about their experience here. Scott, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it
I
very
appreciate
much.
you.
Great.
Here's where all the wheel balancing goes on. Tire changers over here. Right over here is our alignment machine. This is where all the front end alignments happen. Pads right here, the lasers shoot off that, and that's how he knows whether the front end's in line or not. We've got Tanner over here working on some brakes.
Well, I started co-op about 6 months, but I just started here about like a month ago.
And you have been an auto mechanic for how many years?
Since I was old enough to hold a wrench, and it's just something that I fell in love with, and I tried doing other things, and just, it's my passion, it's what I'm good at.
Yes, I was in the Navy. I was stationed in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I was an F-18 Super Hornet mechanic, which is a fighter jet that pretty much attack jets. I worked on the hydraulics, body work, any kind of hydraulic line blowouts and stuff like that, and it was a blast.
Hey guys, we appreciate you all coming out today. We're here at Tireworks. We'd be glad to have you as a customer. You can find us at 615 Highway 15 North in Jackson, Kentucky, 606-666-4927. Come see us.